If my daughter comes out with a flat ass,
with a pancake booty,
kill you.
That's the genes.
I'm Honey German. My parents are Dominican. I was born and raised in New York City. I love sneakers, and I'm a body positive advocate.
I'm Carolina Bermudez. Soy Nicaragüense, but I was born and raised in Ohio. I'm a wife, a mama, and a worker bee. This is Life in Spanglish. Did you notice that I'm sitting far away from you?
Yeah.
I'm not feeling my freshest right now,
What's
girl.
wrong with you? You're contagious today?
No, I just went and worked out. So, I got that, I got that, woman.
That gym funky?
Yeah, a little gym funk,
I'd rather pee myself than go to the bathroom at the gym because it'd be so much funk in there. It's like 6 stalls, everybody with their pants down. They just did motherfucking karate or kickboxing.
Smelling like Medusa.
No, it'd just be too much. That gym bathroom be too much.
Well, I wanted to ask you because of the whole Cardi B thing. I know we talked about Cardi B last week, and then we talked a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But Cardi B did something so reckless, and I just want to know because I feel like we're just not on the same level when it comes to things like this, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
I think you see things differently than I do.
Uh-huh.
But sharing when you're getting your laser surgery on your vajayjay, is that TMI to you?
That was.
Okay, so
and
good.
the fact
then I'm not far
that
off.
she was like recording it with the legs open in the mirror.
And then she was like kind of positioning it and like I felt like a dirty little girl for watching it. I was like, am I a nasty girl for what? Because I watched it again.
And you were like, am I really seeing what I'm seeing?
I did a double take. And that's where it's like, what is TMI? Because TMI to different people, it could be a bathing suit picture, which I don't think is TMI.
It can be.
But TMI when somebody is pointing a laser between your legs, like that to me is so next level.
I know. And she was like, no hairy kitty for the summer.
And then Offset's eating like Chinese food in the waiting room. I just want to know, like, do you
Those two are made for each other. I hope you know this.
They are perfect for one another. But that's where
Definitely TMI. And I know lasering is very cheap at this point. So it's not like Cardi got $100,000 procedure that she had to like tell us about it and in exchange for the procedure. I think they sell those on Groupon for like $200 for like 6 treatments. So she did that on purpose and
to get people talking,
I guess.
And that's where it's for me, it's not some groundbreaking procedure. That's what I was saying. If this was something that's like brand new, wow, oh my gosh, they're like literally laser, if I'd never seen it before, I would have been a little bit intrigued, but I was just all the way turned off.
Nah, it was type nasty. I'm not even going to hold you. But Cardi's always kind of like been like that, She does videos with no clothes on and her braids pulled out. Well, she doesn't anymore, but before, like day one Cardi was always TMI.
Yes, and I think that that's been part of her shtick, but if she wants to elevate, don't you think that she needs somebody kind of in her camp to tell her, let's dial it down a little bit or let's bring it back? Because there are so many positive things happening in her career.
I think people became so obsessed and fixated with Cardi because of her reckless ways and her crazy antics and mannerisms that sometimes people are afraid to slow it down.
Right.
Because it's just like, oh, okay, she no longer has, that enigma that people were gravitating towards.
Like you don't want somebody, it's almost like a person who has a gap in their teeth that's a singer. And then they say, oh, I'm never going to fix this gap in my teeth because I may never sing the same way again. So it's like you don't want to stunt the person.
Yeah, or dim her light or something like that. If Cardi starts changing and she becomes more reclusive or she becomes more quiet or, here I am sipping tea, the magic might die out.
Yeah, it's true. So it's like, what is the balance there? Or do we have too much of Cardi B right now? Because then that's the other thing, the overexposure.
People were OD obsessed with her. She was like America's sweetheart like a year and a half ago.
For real,
it was like, and not a day went by that I didn't see Cardi B post, people talking about her on TV, people talking about her on the radio. So I think we've gotten used to her. And it was weird because with Cardi, I identified a lot with her because she's Dominican, because she's from uptown, we're New Yorkers.
Hustle. Yeah.
She's a hustler. And then at one point I started to feel like they had her like a caged zoo animal. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know how to feel. It was just like, oh my God, do you hear the way she talks? And can you do a cur again? And do you see her fingernails? And it was just like, okay, but this is really us, kind of, sort of. She's a little more extreme. But I started to feel like she was like a novelty. I don't know if I'm explaining.
To the mainstream.
Yeah, to the mainstream.
Right.
To like mainstream America. And then it was just like, okay, but this is us. Like, how is this like a I don't know. Even on red carpets, it was just weird. People would start talking like, I guess, hood.
Well, when Ryan Seacrest starts going, oh, you know, and he it's dying when somebody like, and I'm fortunately sorry for Ryan Seacrest, but like,
once it hits really like mainstream, you know, it's weird. And then that brings us to the whole like the cultural appropriation, you know, topic about. It's weird. It's a weird little like rope that you have to walk, because it's just like, okay, but why are you doing that, or why are you saying those things? That's like the whole, hey girlfriend. I hate when people do that to me, especially if it's someone who doesn't use the term regularly, because I'm just like, okay, what is that? That's like your slang, your ghetto talk, what are you doing to me right now?
Is that how you're trying to associate with me?
Yes.
Is that how you're trying to connect? Well, you know, this has been a big problem, I think, even back to when Oprah was on television, because you remember when Oprah was on TV, people would say that she spoke differently when she had guests that were African American as opposed to white guests. So whenever she would have guests on where she felt like that connection, she would be like, hey, girlfriend, you know.
But true self would come through.
Exactly. Yeah. But then there were other times where she was just prim and proper and buttoned up. And so
I can see that.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of people have an issue, because it's just be you. Just be the person that you were meant to be. So Cardi B knows nothing else other than to have these really amazing nails and to speak the way she does and, you know, have this connection with her audience. And I think that once the mainstream sees that, they want in on it.
They do, but
they want a little piece.
They want a little piece. I don't know. I just be feeling a certain way. But back to the vagina lasering.
The TMI thing, yeah.
It was TMI. But it's weird because some people feel like I did a video and it was like chest up, but I was like in a bra. I guess I was just still like in the process of getting dressed.
Right.
And somebody wrote me like, oh, you couldn't wait to put a shirt on to do the video. And I'm like, who cares?
Well, see,
you can't see my nipples. You can't see my breasts. It's just like a little bit of the top. Like it was like from here up, and they had a problem with it.
I'm like, I like that.
And they felt like it was TMI.
How is that any different from doing a video in your bathing suit?
Mm-hmm.
For me,
maybe the lace offended them.
I mean, okay, really? So now we're going to be worried about material? But that's where I feel like we are constantly under scrutiny. Now, for me, TMI, I do get uncomfortable. I have one girlfriend in particular who is very detailed about her sex life. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, la, 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 I don't want to know. I can't look at you guys the same way.
My sister hates that.
I don't want to know what he did or where he went or how it, you know, like there are all of these things that she's just extremely detailed about. And I've told her, I said, girl, like it makes me feel a certain type of way. She's like, why, are you turned on? I was like, no, I'm not turned on. I was like, I'm just like more embarrassed because I look at you and then I look at him and I'm like, well, I know where he went last night.
A whole three. Don't kiss me in the cheek with your mouth.
I know where those lips have been.
And today is a handshake day for you, buddy.
No, totally. So that's where it's like, for me, the TMI is
sex talk.
Personal. I never talked about sex. And the funny thing is that I really, truly enjoy sex. I love it. Yeah. Like, you know, but growing up, my mother never spoke to me about
Neither
it.
Did we.
We never had the sex talk. It was just don't. You'll get pregnant.
You'll
get a disease. You know what I mean? Like your reputation. You'll be a slut if you have sex with like one man. That was like legitimately. Yeah, because they wanted me to save myself for marriage. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Mom, Dad.
But yes, yeah.
Sex for me, TMI for me is any type of vaginal illnesses. I don't want to know nothing that's happening down there.
And it doesn't even have to be an illness.
It doesn't have to be anything bad, even if it's just dry vagina. I don't want to hear about it. Anything that has to do with
dry vagina. Don't talk to me about discharge right now either, because either way, I don't care if it's dry as the Sahara.
I don't want to hear nothing about your vagina.
Or if you're leaky like a faucet. I don't want to know those things.
I don't want to know those things. But sex, I'm very, you know when I'll allow you to talk to me explicitly about sex?
When?
The first time you have sex with someone.
Okay, when it goes down.
When it goes down.
Yes,
bitch,
okay.
You could tell me anything and everything.
Right.
Did he rip the panties off? Did he try to go through the back door?
Did you just push him to the side?
Tell me everything, bitch. Because I know you're a man and we've been talking about this dude for a long time.
I'm invested in this story.
100%. I want to know
if the payoff.
If the piece was hitting. Like, are we going back for seconds? What are we doing? I want to know all these things. But once you're in a relationship and that's your man, I'd rather not.
And if you're super close, right?
Yeah,
so then
yeah,
I'm not off base here with my one girlfriend.
You're
and I
not.
told her, I was just like, you are really going there right now. And I think she gets a kick out of it because she
Probably
knows
does.
how it like makes me like
Squirm.
squirm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now she's asked me several times about like Mark and I. And I said, I will
You think she's trying to be a swinger or
never.
something?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
this is like a very,
Carolina's
very
like,
close
honey,
friend.
bitch, what are you doing right now?
No. I've had people approach
too.
us.
On
Yeah.
vacation?
Which is the most awkward thing because Mark's like, hello, wake up, Carolina. That woman is coming over here like to try to like get something popping. And I say to I'm like, I think I'm just oblivious.
You're like, oh, my swimsuit? Yes, I'll give you the link.
I'm like, oh my gosh, hi, how are you? Mark's like, you're not in Ohio anymore. Like, wake up, you know? So, no, she's not that type. I think it's because we are so close and we've known each other for so long. And she's going to be so mad at me that I'm talking about this right now because she listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
But I've told her several times, like, that is just too much information about
You're throwing
some
me
of
off.
the
You're throwing me
things
off.
that-
You're throwing me off. That's what I be telling people when they're doing stuff.
Right.
I'm like, no, I don't want to know.
Yes, exactly. And she's like, well, don't you want to know so you can try it? I said, no, I'm good. I'll discover on my own. Like,
I'm sure at my fine age,
Yes.
I've done plenty of positions and situations.
and I do yoga. I'm very flexible. So I don't need you to guide me, honey, you know? But yeah, that's where I kind of feel like I'm a little bit of a prude when it comes to TMI.
Yeah, I kind of am. I'm weird about stuff like that. Sex stuff, especially if it's like an older, unattractive couple or anything like that. If they're fine, I probably might sit through the conversation. But they're ugly people. I don't want to hear about this shit.
Yeah, like if I'm hearing about like who's like the hottest couple in like Hollywood right now, I'm trying to think. If I were to think of, let's say,
What, you trying to set up a threesome with some Hollywood people?
no. I'm saying I wouldn't mind hearing about Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet having sex.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I wouldn't
that
mind it.
definitely wouldn't gross me
I
out.
wouldn't mind, but it's like I'm not having lunch with them next week and, you know, taking care of their kids like in a month. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
very different type of situation. Or like when Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt were together.
Yeah. She look like she boring as hell in bed. I'm not gonna
she's
hold
a freak,
you.
girl.
She's a freak?
Yeah, she uses like blades and shit.
Wow.
Yeah. She used to have Billy Bob Thornton's blood around like her neck in a vial.
Well, yeah, I remember when she did that movie Gia or Gia,
Yeah,
whatever
she
it
was a
was. She looked like a
freak.
real vampire.
Oh
in that
yeah,
movie.
yeah. I'm down. I'm like down to hear about it, but not about one of my best friends. The thing about swingers, my one girlfriend told me, she was like, anytime you see an Adirondack chair, that means that people are swingers.
What the hell's an Adirondack chair?
Girl, I will show you an Adirondack chair, and I'm
Do I need
offended
one?
for them because now everybody's gonna think you're a swinger. But I said, just because people like a certain type of furniture, does that mean that they? And she said, no, they put them out on their front lawn. That
Show me.
means like, come
Andrew,
on
show
over.
me.
It's part of their community. Andrew is pulling up an Adirondack right now.
That bullshit.
You
I
know
sat
you-
on those chairs before. I thought those were lawn chairs.
That's like the call, girl.
That must
is
be
the
for
call.
old hippie swingers. We need a different call. I
No.
heard black rings are for swingers.
I've never heard that. What does this mean? Like a black, like one of those latex rings or whatever, like that people put like when they work out?
No, so my friends have one, and because they've obviously been swinging before.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I want their
they
life.
wear black engagement rings.
Oh,
That's-
so on the wedding finger? I
Yes.
know plenty of men that have a black wedding
and,
ring.
Yeah.
And so that's the
the new code?
I know.
But isn't that like a good medal to have? I actually looked at one for
Me
Mark
too.
before as a
I asked my
replacement.
husband, I said, you want
I
a
said-
black wedding ring?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
God,
so
that's
you like Adirondack chairs,
And you
wanted
want
to
a black wedding ring for Noonie. We got some good issues,
I don't know
girl.
myself right now.
No, I know. Are you like,
One of Nooney's best friends has a black ring.
I wonder.
investigate. I'm telling you.
But
you'll
see,
be
He
shocked.
looked like a freak too. Him and his wife kind of look like a freak too.
Are we being the most super judgy people just because of what we've heard?
Nobody
like,
cares about swingers.
Shouldn't we navigate? Like, shouldn't you find out? Like, ask your friend, ask Noonie's friend, and see if that's like a real thing.
I have him on Instagram.
You do?
Yeah, I'm about to like.
No, you can't hit him up with a DM because then he's gonna think that you're down.
That's mad inappropriate, right? Hey,
Yes.
does your black ring means that you're a swinger? He's
Yeah.
gonna be like, why, you down?
I'm asking for work.
I can ask my friend right now if you want me to.
Oh my God,
Seriously, but then
can ya?
I bet there are a lot of other things that go along with the lifestyle, much like anybody else. You know, I mean, I'm
The swinging
assuming.
lifestyle?
I'm assuming. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they're very open about it.
I think that's a lovely
They'll-
way to be. If
they'll
they're
talk
both
about it.
down and if they're
Yeah.
both okay with it, that's fantastic.
Well, she's
like,
bisexual, so the first time they had a threesome, it was with a girl.
Okay.
oh,
Well, the only time. They
Right.
had
So it was three
with a
girls.
girl. No, It was
A guy and a girl?
yes.
Okay.
And here's what's interesting about it. That was the second girl he's ever had sex with. Was in the threesome.
What?
Interesting.
She turned him all the way out then.
You gotta be careful with that. He might have gotten pussy whipped by the other chick, and then you over here cheating on me, and we have a problem.
It's issues. Then that becomes like a whole big thing. It's too messy for me. That's why I say I'm too jealous. I'm just not that type of girl. I can't.
But you know what's crazy? I do want to go to a swingers like a party just to watch. Nooney tells me they're not going to let me just go watch, but he's like, bitch, somebody going to grab you and make you do something you don't want to do. But I just want to go see what's happening.
There was this great article. How did we even get into this? We were talking about Cardi B lasering her vajay, and
Andrew.
I blame Andrew. Anyway, there was this article in the New York Post like last year or something about this like secret club that you had to like pay a membership to. Women could get in. Guys had to pay more for the membership, and you basically went to these like beautiful apartments, like Airbnb,
but the people gotta
basically.
be beautiful. I don't want to go nowhere where there's old wrinkly people.
No, they wouldn't allow you in unless you were like, you had
attractive?
to have crazy money, like you had to be a good looking dude. And all of these women, they would have them up there, and I guess that's like how it went down.
I bet you it was in Long Island. You know Long Island's full of freaks and swingers.
Don't start with this again. You did this in episode like 3 or 4.
Okay,
Don't be
my
putting
bad.
down my Long Island
No,
people.
Long Island people's just adventurous. You know, they be
They're
bored out there in
bored.
the
I was gonna
sticks.
say,
Yeah,
the
they
A lot
like
of Adirondack
suburbs.
chairs. So many Adirondack
I know.
chairs.
all over
Wait, you
the
guys.
North Shore.
We had to get new patio furniture because I said to Mark, and I was like, just whatever you do, don't get those chairs. I said, we don't want to send the wrong message. I'm so glad I knew about this before we did our whole like revamp
Oh
for
my
outside.
God, that's amazing.
So you will be safe in my community.
Okay, good.
I'm like combing the neighborhood looking around. I will never look at my neighbors the same. So yeah, anyway, there are some things that you should keep off of social media, in my opinion. Lasering is one of them. But then somebody came back at me with the whole like, oh, well, if you've done cool sculpting or if you've done any kind of like cosmetic procedure, where a lot of influencers put that out there. I said, that is so different. Getting something done on your arms or your stomach is way different than like
getting your vagina
the private
lasered.
area,
Yeah, 100%.
So okay, we're on the same page there because I didn't know if you were gonna call me out for that one.
I was kind of like,
Were you a little bit? Yeah, you made
saw
the
it
face.
I saw it on the station website. I'm like, not suitable for work. Cardi B's most raunchiest video ever. Click.
Yeah.
And there she was. I was like,
Immediate clickbait.
she giving birth or what is she doing right now?
No, it's like, when you go into the refrigerator and the milk, it might not be good, but then you go and you sniff it anyway and you make that face. It's like, yeah,
this is
a
yogurt
little
now.
sour.
How do you feel about people taking pictures like when they're having a baby in the delivery room? No?
No. I wouldn't even let Mark, like, I told him there was an area where it was like, do not cross this line. Do
For
not
Mark?
go. Yeah, because I didn't know if I was having my baby vaginally or if I was going to have a C-section.
Yeah.
I ended up having a C-section, so he was behind a curtain anyway.
Okay.
This fool was looking over the curtain. The doctor
I
was
know.
like, can you tell the husband to sit down? It's like a major surgery.
Yeah.
But there are people, listen, there's something really special and beautiful about the miracle of birth.
There is. I got to give you that.
But there's also a lot of gruesome, ugly things that go down because trust me, I was watching in that big light that they have above you in
You
the
were
surgery
watching the
room.
surgery?
You can basically see
No, I don't
everything
wanna
in the
see that.
reflection. So it's like, I feel like there are some people who want, like, I'll give you an example of Kourtney Kardashian. Remember when she had her baby and they had the cameras
And she
rolling
pulled it
and
out?
everything? Yes, and she pulled the baby out. And it's like, again, there's something really special and beautiful about it, but I kind of want to keep that to myself. I don't need the documentation. In fact, I kind of want to forget that I went through it. I have a beautiful baby right there to prove it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel you.
And I don't really ever recall us saying, you know what, let's grab a glass of wine and let's go look at the operating room pictures from when we
footages.
had the baby. I don't think that's really like the heartwarming moment. I think it's the moment after, like when you're holding the baby but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, nah, that's a little bit OD. Anything that shows the baby coming out or being pulled out.
And they don't
it's
look
just too
good
much.
when they come out. I will tell you, they look like little wrinkly, nasty. they got like white stuff all over them.
Just wait. Instagram could wait a day or two for us to see the baby. No rush.
Absolutely.
We waited 9 months since you posted that pee stick. We could wait 2 more days.
But is there anything that's off limits anymore? And that's my question, because you've seen Cardi B, even sometimes, I mean, there are doctors that I follow that they're posting,
Me too.
patients before, obviously not with their faces or anything, but they
Whole
show some
bodies.
pretty gruesome stuff. Have you seen a liposuction? I've watched one.
I've had a
on
liposuction.
Instagram. No, but you can literally watch the procedure, and I'm just like, I did not need to see that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have my yogurt with berries right now. Like,
Oh,
this was
yeah,
just
they
not
don't care.
welcome.
No, Carolina, one of the most popular accounts was that Dr. Pimple Popper.
Don't know.
And now she has a whole TV show, and the other guy, Toe Bro, and they're ripping out toe. It's just people just want to see anything.
Bro?
Yeah.
Are you making this up?
Why would I?
I've never heard of this in my life.
Yeah, and he like yanks off entire toenails, and it's like,
Oh my god!
but people love it, and they eat it up.
No, we've got to do better as a society. We have to like find something better to do with our time than
Go
watch
to an art
pimples.
exhibit.
Stop, please.
Go
oh
to
my
an
god.
art exhibit.
No, yes, please do something else other than this. My gosh. Well, no, this brings me to our salon question because we got something from Maria from Union City.
Yes, we did.
Which is awesome. I'm so glad that you guys are writing to us. Life in
I love it.
Spanglish podcast at gmail.com. We're getting all of your questions. So go ahead, honey. You want to take it over?
Okay. It says, "Hi, Honey and Carolina. I was listening to you ladies last week, and I gave myself a mental note to write to you both. This is from the April 17th episode. And at the end, Honey said she was scared to get pregnant because she would disappoint her employer. I have 2 kids, and in that time, gone through 2 jobs, still at the second one. But the experience I had in my first job was completely uncalled for. When I became pregnant with my daughter, Isabella, I had already been at that place for 8 years. It was a small nonprofit, but I was the vice president of the company. My boss already felt some type of way because I had called out on a day of an event to go get married at City Hall. I had already told my coworker who did the event with me always what my plans were, and she was and still is fully supportive. That was in 2010. In September of 2011, I became pregnant, and I did not want to say anything initially just to make sure everything was okay before announcing. But I was throwing up every day for the first 3 months. While I was pregnant, my boss asked me to update the personal manual to remove maternity leave from it, and it was no longer an employee benefit. I looked at him and said, so what does that mean for me? He said, oh, you'll be grandfathered into what we had, but moving forward, this is the policy for everyone, which meant if I wanted to have another child, I wouldn't have maternity leave. I would only have sick, personal, and vacation time to use. Fast forward to when Izzy was 6 months, I was let go over the phone on my vacation day due to reorganization. Wow. I was so disappointed in how he handled everything. I bounced back and had another job within 2 weeks, and I'm still with the company. In January 2015, I became pregnant with our son, and the transition of everything was amazing. My current supervisor was nothing but supportive. I was so surprised because I had only been there 2 years before getting pregnant, and it was just so nice compared to the place where I had been for 8 years and worked way too many hours and was treated like crap. You just never know. Anyway, sorry for the long email, but I just wanted to share my experience. I love you both. Maria from Union City.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that email, Maria. My gosh. Where do we even begin with this one? I have gone through 2 pregnancies, and I can tell you that I am part of a growing movement of women who believe that the United States needs to do better. Even though I will not be having more children personally, I think it's our duty as mothers and women now to make changes for the next generation of people who are coming up.
100%.
Because what I went through at another position when I was pregnant, I would never wish it on anyone. It was absolutely horrible. It's almost like you're penalized for having a child. Yeah. That company did not have a policy. I have to be very careful with the way that I speak about it. So basically, you did have to use your vacation days, your personal days, your sick days while you were out.
So there was no maternity leave?
No, well, you had to take either short-term disability, which then you only get a certain percentage of your check.
Practically nothing.
And there's just a number of hurdles that you have to go through. So not only are you looking at this impending cost that comes with having a child, but then you have to look at it from a perspective of, wow, well, my pay is going to be cut, and I have all of these other things that I need to think about. Oh, yeah, and by the way, you have other people gunning for your job.
Yeah.
And you have employers who look at it as, oh, well, now this person that's going to come back is going to be more concerned with their child and their home.
Yeah.
So we may need to restructure or reshift. So in this one position that I had, and there were many other people who had gone through it, I was told that I was going to be put in a different area, and I said absolutely not, and I fought it, and I have a contract.
Good for you.
I said my contract states that this is my position and this is the position that I'm going to be in, or else we're going to have an issue. I think that, and please, with all due respect, I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm trying to say or misinterpret what I'm trying to say. But the Me Too movement had to happen in order for there to make changes. And there were many brave women who came forward to talk about their experiences, and men, to shift that energy and to make a change in Hollywood. I think the same thing needs to happen with maternity leave and the way corporate America treats their women employees, their female employees, because I will tell you right now, there are too many stories like this where people are let go because they've had a kid, they've been doing their job well, even if they have childcare, they're just looked at as less than because now they have a family.
Yeah, no, and I tell you all the time, one of the main reasons why I haven't started a family is not because I'm made to feel like things would change, but me personally, myself, I feel like, okay, I'm going to have to be out. I'm going to have to take time off. Who's going to do my job? Will my job be there when I return?
And don't sleep on the people who are like, girl, I got you.
Well,
don't worry about it.
Those are the
I'll
ones that'll take your whole job.
100%. Well, she wasn't here, and I held up I held everything up for her when she was gone. It's the same thing.
Yeah, so it's like your body's already going through all this. You have a whole new human in your life. You have a big expense when a baby comes. You already don't even make the same amount of money because you're home, and now you're losing all types of different monies. At least job security should be a thing that should be in place.
Well, the only thing that I will tell you, and it disappoints me to say this, is that there are no guarantees, honey. The only guarantee is if you don't have a child.
And that's the main reason why I haven't had
And that's the main reason why there are a lot of women in their 30s and their late 30s who are doing so amazingly well professionally, but never got to cultivate those personal relationships because they were too afraid to get married, to have a child. And now, a lot of my friends have been freezing their eggs. They've been thinking about their future,
and it's expensive. It's not cheap. Now, let me ask you a question, Carolina. Yeah. What would you tell me? You did the right thing by focusing on your career, or my kids are the most important thing in the world and fuck a career?
I would say to you, time waits for no one, and your job is not going to be there for you when you're 65, 70, 80. Your kids are going to be there for you. Your family's going to be there for you. You leave a position, they will fill it before you're even out the door. Before they deactivate your card, they can fill that position. Honestly, I mean, that's the truth. For me, it has never been a question. I left a hugely successful show in radio to go to television, to come back to radio. And I always say my journey allowed me to have a family. I don't know what my life would have been like had I stayed in radio. I don't know what my life would have been like had I stayed in TV. All I know is that my journey gave me these two precious boys that have changed my life forever.
That's amazing.
And it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Personally, I've accomplished so many things with my career that I will always look back at and be super proud, but nothing compares. Nothing compares to the pride I feel when I look at my boys.
And you know what? I have to say this. Things have changed a lot, though. I see pregnant women doing the news. I see the mommy influencers. A lot of different things have changed. And sometimes I even say it in my head. I'm like, okay, that'll just be another set of followers. It'll be another set of people that are going to connect to me. It's still scary. Don't get me wrong. It's a big change. Bringing another human into this world and being responsible for them, probably for the rest of their life.
Right.
It's very scary. There's a lot of different things. And a lot of my friends that don't have kids, they tell me the same thing. It's like, I don't know what my life will be after the children. But a lot of my mom friends tell me it's going to be absolutely amazing. And you'll finally know what real love is. Because a lot of my friends say the love you get from a man or from a friend or from a parent does not compare in no way, shape, or form to the love you get from your children.
You're rewarded in such a different way. It's unexplainable. I can't put the right words to it, but what I can say is that I am more concerned about, those are high profile positions. What about people in middle America that have two jobs and they want to have a family? You know what? Because that is part of the American dream, isn't it? To have a child, to, have a house, maybe get a dog or, whatever it is.
I gotta pass this ass down to somebody.
I mean, it is too too good to not give.
Better have his ass. Okay, I tell Noonie all the time. I'm like, boy, you don't got no ass. If my daughter comes out with a flat ass,
with a pancake booty,
kill you.
That's the genes.
I will, Carolina, if that happens to me, my baby better have a fat booty as soon as she come out the womb, because I'm not playing games.
Oh, she will have the yummiest little tushy. Are you kidding me?
A little diaper butt is the cutest
you
little
can bounce a little like quarter off of it.
It better. But anyway, I understand exactly where you're coming from. Yeah, it's hard.
It's a tough discussion to have, because then there's the other thing too, where it's very taboo to talk about this. If you raise this question in corporate America, you're looked at as a person like, ooh, they're a liability.
Oh yeah, you're problematic.
If this person is going to talk about this, ooh, we might need to get rid of that person, and they'll find another way to get rid of you, so they don't have to deal with you. Yeah, but if you think about it, it's not just the baby. You know, they go on your insurance. It depends on whether or not your employer pays your insurance. There are a number of different factors.
Especially when you work for private companies.
Yes, we just got to do better, though. I mean, that's the reason why the United States, I mean, I think there was something that was written that says that we are at the very bottom of all of the countries that have a maternity leave policy. We are at the very bottom. It shouldn't be that way.
It really shouldn't. Like, we are not a third world country, and
we act like it.
We really do.
When it comes to this issue, absolutely. And I think that in 2020, it's going to be something that a lot of presidential candidates are going to have to address, because it's an issue that's been swept under the rug. But now you have more women in the workforce. You have more women CEOs, which, thank God, you know, you have more women in power. And all I can say is that if you feel like your employer isn't giving you your rights, you know what? Speak up. Go to FAMLA. That's a Family Medical Leave Act. Family, that gives you the 12 weeks off that you're rightfully given.
And now in New York, we have like a Family Leave Act that was enacted. Even men can actually take, I think it's
a paternity leave.
A paternity leave, which is super dope and is amazing.
Yeah, because they want to bond with their children too. I mean, there are different countries in Europe where they allow you 6 months of maternity leave, and you are not penalized at all for that. Like, you can come back and take your full vacation if you feel like it, but they want you to bond with your child. There's a big difference there. So
not here in America. It's like your C-section hasn't even healed, and they're like, chop, can you work from home?
Oh, I know. They're getting you out of the hospital room immediately. They're
Check
just like,
your
can you
emails,
go?
please.
Did you use the restroom? Okay, great. By the way, like, you look at your emails and they're all coming through. So yeah, American moms, you know, or women who are thinking of having children, please don't let this conversation discourage you. It really is one of the most amazing experiences. But, you know, just educate yourself with your company's own policies. That's what I could say, because everybody is different. So there you have it.
With that being said, let me get myself some ovulation test kits or something.
I'll give you my Clear Blue Easy. I don't need it anymore.
Send it over.
Yeah, that's right. So definitely send us your emails if you can. lifeinspanglishpodcast@gmail.com, and hit us on social media.
LI Spanglish on Twitter and Instagram, and make sure you subscribe, because that's how you get your episodes. You don't even have to go looking for it. They'll send you a notification. A new episode is available. And while you're on there subscribing, just make sure you hit the 5-star.
I love it. Thank you so much. That's right.